haven't seen the interview. What did he say?
Okay, he said, yeah, you know, we were talking about the whole arbitration thing on our last Zoom interview. He essentially said that Team Fury are to blame for this situation, etc. And that he's not very happy with what's gone on. But obviously, you haven't seen the interview, so.
Well, as far as arbitration is concerned, that was down to the arbitrator. I don't accept any blame for it at all. So I don't go dumping any stuff on my doorstep. I've said all along, this fight shouldn't be announced till everything's signed off and agreed, and it wasn't signed off. And as far as the arbitration is concerned, it is what it is. Somebody said to me about why doesn't Tyson vacate the belt? He can't do that. He'll be sued by Wilder for millions and millions of dollars because the arbitrator's given his decision. And add to that, even if he were to do that and think he could fight elsewhere, the promoters would be injuncted and they would be joined in the actions as well. So all there is to be done is for him to get this fight out of the way. Everyone's frustrated, but you know what? I'm sick to death of keep talking about the same bullshit all the time. It is what it is. It wasn't dealt with, it hasn't been dealt with, but now the arbitrator has brought everything to a head. And that's where we're at.
Do you think boxing can learn something from this over what's happened in the last 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut until something's signed.
Wow. Those are the words of Frank Warren, people. As we can clearly hear, he is a little bent, a little heated, right? Livid. And, Frank has mentioned during these 5 months or whatever, how long it took for that deal to get done of a fight that was never going to happen. And he did mention, like, hey, he needs to shut his mouth until a deal is made. But then here's the irony of it. Counterpunching Frank Warren, he's like, don't blame me. It was up to the arbitrator. But it was also, he had to understand that if the arbitration was that important, why wasn't that a major factor, breaking point, or a decision maker, why this fight's not happening? Okay, so what Frank Warren's doing is, hey, it ain't up to me. I don't have any responsibility, but you knew that they were in arbitration. And you also knew that was a chance that, hey, they may lose. They might lose, meaning his side. Tyson Fury may lose. And he knew that. And here, this is what you hear. It was a cover-up the whole time. So he's like, I'm tired of hearing it. See, he's getting aggravated because people are now coming at him and then they're looking back and they're doing all their homework and they're backtracking. Well, you guys knew about the arbitration and you knew the particulars. They knew the particulars. They can't say they didn't know what was going on from day to day. They knew that. That's why. Why do you think Frank Warren had everything negative to say about that fight? See, the arbitration wasn't the reason Frank Warren said that fight wasn't going to happen. The reason he said the fight wasn't going to happen was because Eddie Hearn couldn't get it or make it happen. Then it went from, Eddie Hearn can't do it. He's saying this is signed, ain't nothing signed. He ain't doing this. We ain't seen that. Or then it came down, and all this came down to, where's it going to be? Okay, we don't even have that going. Where's the site fee? And then, we kept on going down the list of reasons, because those reasons were eradicated as they went by. Then it came down to Tyson Fury himself. And then Tyson Fury was that roadblock for that fight, ultimately. But really what it was Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury was involved in some other shit that nobody brought to the attention. Nobody brought it to the forefront. See, the inconsistency here shows. See, now he just dumps it all on the arbitrator. It wasn't about the arbitrator. Well, actually it was. But to let Frank Warren or Bob Arum tell it, it wasn't up to the arbitration at all. They knew about it, but it wasn't up to them. So the reason that they used was, hey, you know what? The money ain't there. Eddie Hearn ain't as far along like he claims he is. So it had nothing to do with, hey, maybe, just maybe, the arbitration will be the reason why this fight won't happen. Why wasn't that ever discussed, mentioned, said, and notified? Counterpunch. Why wasn't that ever the case? See, all that other shit Frank Warren came up about, Rob McCracken may not be available for Anthony Joshua because he'll be in the Olympics. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen in July or August. I don't think it's going to happen. It's too early, this, that, and the other. Tyson Fury needs a tune-up fight. Remember, that was another reason. See, a lot of these things were brought up, but not the main reason. The main reason was the arbitration. That was the main reason. And they knew it was the main reason. They just didn't want to admit. Maybe it was a pride thing. I get it. But at the end of the day, Frank can't get mad because everybody now is looking at them shitty. And looking at them like, you guys being co-promoters of Tyson Fury, you guys didn't know anything about the arbitration. The one thing you never mentioned, what could be a stumbling block or a deal breaker for this deal not being made was the arbitration. Nobody mentioned it. See, it would have been different, people, if Frank Warren would have consistently been saying, hey, we're waiting for the arbitrator. We can't do anything until then. See, and in that case, he should have conveyed that to Eddie Hearn instead of watching, waiting, observing, and then doubting what this one guy was doing. See, it all comes back to that. You're supposed to be doing a deal with a guy, but you know you're doing another deal with another guy. See, that's that underhanded bullshit. And now he's getting angry. You heard how Benny was because he wouldn't admit back then it was about the arbitration the whole time. That's our main reason right there. I mean, if Eddie can do it or not. But they were hoping, this is what they were hoping. They were hoping that Eddie Hearn didn't get the deal done. So when he didn't get it done, they couldn't blame the arbitration, knowing it was the arbitration. They could blame it on Eddie's incompetence or inexperience, right? Of not getting the fight done. So it really wouldn't be that anyway. And then they can turn around and fight Wilder because the deal never got made. And then they can blame Eddie. See, Eddie ain't what you guys thought he was. See, that's how the rival promotions work. That's what Bob Arum, Frank Warren, contrast Eddie Hearn. See, they didn't want the real truth of the matter to really come out, people. What they wanted people to believe was Eddie Hearn couldn't do it. Eddie Hearn don't know what the fuck he's doing. Eddie Hearn's too green behind the ears. It's all about Eddie. It's Matchroom. Where are they going to get the money from? That's all what they were trying to push at people. Push the Fight Hype, IFL TV, Second South. All these major boxing channels, they were pushing that. But the one thing they were not pushing, people, was the real reason the fight was never going to happen or never going to happen now. Now, see, Frank didn't like what John said about anything. Well, keep your mouth shut. Then that's what, what do you mean keep your mouth shut? You either did or you didn't want the deal. See, Frank couldn't say, hey, I don't want the deal done. So he just really didn't say anything. He put his doubts up. But the doubt had nothing to do with the main reason the fight never happened, which Frank knew, or Frank should have known, being experienced and knowing my fighter that I co-promote is in a court case about a fight that he signed to fight someone else. Why wasn't that even talked about? Why wasn't that discussed? That's what Frank Warren should have been saying. And since he didn't say it, now it makes him look like a jackass and a liar. Because now everybody can say is, well, your fighter was in an arbitration that you guys claim wasn't even that important or wouldn't affect a fight with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. You see what I'm saying? So, heated Frank Warren speaks. You guys tell me what you think of Frank Warren's comments towards John Fury. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.